Howdy, and give you an update on how things have been going. I saw Jesus in a dream recently, so that's something I want to come back to and share in just a moment. And in this dream, I'm sitting at a balcony of some large indoor structure. It could have been kind of like a mall. I don't think it was a mall, but if you've ever been to a mall where there's multiple levels and you can look down from a higher level into a lower level, like there's a mall here in Houston called the Galleria.
Weird.
And you can look down at an ice rink from a higher level. It was that kind of a balcony, a glass balcony, railing kind of thing. And I was sitting there waiting for Jesus. I knew that I was about to meet him. And then Jesus appears to me. I've always wondered what Jesus looks like. Whenever someone tells me that they had a vision or a dream of Jesus, I ask them what Jesus looked like. And of course, different people say different things. And so you can interpret that however you want to. For me, the way he appeared to me was striking, very striking. He wasn't glowing. Some people say they see a lot of light. I didn't see a lot of light. I saw a man in his young 30s, which was striking to me because whenever I see pictures of Jesus, if you look at paintings or if you look at artist depictions, almost always, subconsciously, I don't know why, but they depict him as a middle-aged man in his 40s. But in my dream, I saw a man who was exactly my age, looked like my peers. Quite handsome, on the lighter skin side, but not white, dark eyes, short hair, short beard, and he was wearing a white robe with a green sash. Now it was a hunter forest green, a darker green, and the cloth kind of had embedded in it, like the texture, the shape of the texture. I don't know how to describe it, but it was kind of diamond patterned, the sash. There weren't pictures of diamonds, but that was kind of the texture of the cloth. And so when he comes to me, he gives me this huge hug. I mean, it was just a big embracing hug, and I felt very loved, very, very loved in the dream. And he sat down and he had a conversation with me. Now, unfortunately, I don't remember what we talked about. Which is bothering me. I'm going to pray about that a bit, that if the Lord wants to, that he remind me what we talked about. But one thing that I do remember, I remember him saying the word baby.
Oh, yeah? Well, what do you think about this, baby?
Followed by the words sponge bath.
Here, droplets gently cascade over your body.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not exactly what I was expecting to hear from Jesus. Baby and sponge bath. But those were the only things I remembered from the dream. And so when I woke up, apart from, of course, the hug and what he looked like and where we were. And so when I woke up, I felt great. I felt very, very good. That hug stuck with me for quite a while. And then I told Michelle the dream, and I said, we are obligated to give our daughter a sponge bath. That might not be, again, this dream may have been something that my head was producing, but if I've been praying for a long time for guidance from Jesus, and he appears to me in a dream and says, baby sponge bath, I'm going to cover my bases and give my daughter a sponge bath. And so that night, so this was Monday night, or Tuesday night. No, it was Monday night. So that night, I bought a sponge from Target, and I went to give her a sponge bath. Now, Aya loves baths, and she loves sponges. She loves playing with things that, the water squeezes out, and she likes looking at the drops and imitating the sound that the drops make. But when I was giving her this sponge bath, as soon as she saw the sponge, she just started crying, almost hysterically, and asking me and my wife to pull her out of the tub. She was saying, "Mama, Mama, Baba, Baba," and she was just asking us to pick her up because she was terrified of the sponge. Now you have to understand, I'd been looking forward all day to giving her the sponge bath, and I'd been praying about it, and this was not what I was expecting at all. but she was just absolutely terrified. Ultimately, to the point where she stood up in the tub and walked to the edge of the tub and stared at the wall. So if the wall is right here, she's staring at the wall and looking over her shoulder and just terrified and crying, staring at the sponge. And I'm thinking, what are you so afraid of? It's me, it's your mama. I'm holding the sponge. It's okay. We're just going to give you a quick little bath. Why are you scared? But she was just crying and asking us to pick her up. And more or less symbolically, as much as I could, I washed her back. I washed her head with the sponge. I didn't want to torture her too much, though, and so it wasn't that in-depth of a wash. And then I handed her off to Michelle and put the sponge down. And I said, I need to go pray about this. And so I went to our prayer room. And the moment I walked into the room and started praying, it struck me that this may have been almost like a prophetic act that we see in Scripture.
That I'm suspicious of, big time, because of reasons I'll give you tomorrow of why I think the gospel needs to be heard. How shall they believe unless they hear? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach unless they be sent? That's a pretty significant argument in Romans 10. And it doesn't say, well, they'll hear because they'll get dreams. So that argument is invalid.
We often see prophetic acts in Scripture. And it struck me that this may have been one. Now, just give me the benefit of the doubt, and let's say Jesus told me to give Aya a sponge bath. When I go to cleanse her, she is so terrified of the sponge that she doesn't let me cleanse her. Even though I, her father, am holding the sponge, she's just terrified, and she's asking to be rescued, so much so that I can't actually cleanse her the way I wanted to. And I began to think, if this wasn't an image that God was showing me of what's going on in my life, where God is my Father, and He has been cleansing me, and He has been, or at least He wants to cleanse me through this.
But I think we should pray biblically. So that was a little wave. You don't hear much about it anymore today. And I think dreams are going to be a wave, and you've got these waves. And if we stay close to the paradigm of the book, then we won't get swept around by all these waves that come rolling through.